25 symptoms of ego problem. When I got the inspiration to speak on ego, two things came to mind. How do I discuss this without getting misinterpreted? Secondly, I am still work in progress as regards to the subject, but the drive is the fact that I noticed this problem, not just because I have or I am still dealing with it myself, but also most people need to pay attention to it because it has eaten into the fabrics of our relationships. I noticed people display sense of importance even in minor things. I noticed people now build tall walls around themselves because they are overprotective. Because of ego. What is ego? Well, it's okay if you have your definition of ego, but the ego I am discussing today is drawn from my acronym of ego, which is E, esteeming, G, greatly, O, ourselves. That is, esteeming greatly ourselves. It seems the me-centeredness is our default setting because we think of our interests without effort, just as it is easier to love those that loves us while it takes extra to love those that doesn't. Philippians 2:4. Let each of you esteem and look upon and be concerned for not merely his own interests, but also each for the interest of others. When thinking about the luxury, the comfort you want to enjoy, do you pause to think about those that might be needing your help? How often are you willing to endure temporary discomfort for the comfort of another? Symptoms of ego problem. 1. You are always comparing, measuring yourself against others. Example, you always ask yourself, who does she think he or she is? She's prettier than I am, or she's taller, or I have made more money than he can ever dream of. So it is ego issue that makes people compare themselves on social media and in real life. 2. Overconfidence. Confidence is good, but overconfidence is having an exaggerated sense of self. 3. Wants to be treated special. You hate it when you are treated like the rest. 4. Ignore people. You find it easy to ignore people. After all, you built a wall. You don't want anyone messing with your ego. 5. You seek more than you are willing to give. You pick others as a pinch of salt, but you want them to carry you as a bag of salt. 6. Fusing over minor things because of sense of importance. 7. You put others down because putting them down makes you feel up. 8. Highly opinionated. You always have something to say, and if your opinion is not regarded, you find it offensive. 9. You can do anything to protect your image. Just anything. 10. Not open to criticism. I mean constructive criticism. 11. Jealousy. Because you esteem yourself better than others, so you find it easier to feel they are not worthy of any good thing coming their way. 12. Greed. Your exaggerated sense of self makes you feel everything good should be just yours. 13. You don't like taking the initial step, not even when you are wrong. This is the reason you find it difficult to apologize first. You find it difficult to go greet others, going out of your way to do something. You say things like, if they don't go, then I won't too. 14. Exposes other people's weaknesses to feel better. It is said, don't tell others your weakness. That statement was made because this set of people uses it against you at the slightest opportunity or provocation. 15. Glued to self. Like I said earlier, they are all about me, me, me. I'd rather stay on my own to avoid disrespect. 16. They like to keep the gap of minority and majority. They hate it when you play into their class. When you are less, they spit you out. They say things like, who are you to advise me? Who are you to talk to me? A mere gardener, a mere cook. 17. They love to be reverenced. They continuously measure the respect you have for them. And trust me, when you start giving them less, they notice and it infuriates them. 18. They are so defensive. 19. The desire to promote self makes it impossible for them to talk less. 20. They are too controlling. 21. Too competitive. Life is competitive. Life is competition and everything is competition for them. 22. They are glory junkies and they don't mind stealing your own glory if that will make their own shine all the more. 23. They go crazy with the thoughts of what others think of them. 24. They reject the opinion of those they feel are inferior to them. Finally, they accept the opinion, suggestions of those they feel are superior or equal to them. Now, how do you see yourself? Which mirror are you viewing yourself with? There are two kinds of mirror. The world's mirror, which has to do with the standard of the world, how successful, how beautiful, how curvy, how important, how professional, how exaggerated sense of self, sense of importance, or God's mirror, which strictly display who we have been made in his image and likeness, who he has called us to be, his word, and who God is, what he does for us, not who we are, what we are able to achieve, and what we feel we do for God. Ego can also be defined as a part of us that wants to be treated specially. You know, that part that loves the idea of self. And this brings me to another scripture, Romans 12:3. For I say, through the grace given to me, to everyone who is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly as God has dealt to each one a measure of faith. If we are busy having sober reflection, we will honor each other more, because we would realize that there is nothing we are if God has not made us somebody. 2. We would begin to understand that God is the one that has given us essence, meaning, and abilities. 3. We will understand that God also gave others unique abilities, and those people should be respected and not regarded as less. Who are we to think others are less? 4. If we are busy reflecting soberly on his goodness and mercy, his grace, it will build humility, love, and more reverence to him who has given us all things, and not the desire to be reverenced, to be applauded just like the world. We are different from the world, and we ought to act differently by displaying and sharing God's love, demonstrating his power, and by having a humble opinion of self, because all things were made for him and through him. Today, I advise, just as I do advise myself every day, trash the coat of ego, pick up coat of humility, love for God and for others, reverence to God, and respect for others. Thank you.